Derrick Henry just became the 8th running back to rush for over 2,000 yards in a single season. He joins the greats of guys like Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, and most recently Adrian Peterson. What's interesting is Henry is actually the second Tennessee Titan to achieve this feat. Chris Johnson did it back in 2009. In this video, I wanted to see how exactly he did it. I wanted to look at scheme, and I wanted to see how well his skill set paired well to this offense to be so effective. After going through this film, my major takeaway was just how well this team runs outside zone. This is their primary run in this offense. After they get a team running from sideline to sideline, Arthur Smith will then call a gap play in order to hit the defense backside. These are the Titans' two most explosive plays by far. The level of consistency to keep creating yards in this offense really helps them stay on schedule. Now looking at Henry specifically, how he runs outside zone out of single back and I formation is truly incredible. The way he stretches the defense to the breaking point, to the way he puts his foot in the ground to cut uphill, and finally the way he finishes each run with violence really helps his offense. He's also amazing at making his first guy miss. His ability to break tackles and use his vision to see creases really makes him special. Let's look at my favorite play of his from the season. It happened in Week 11 against the Ravens. This play came in overtime, and it was the reason why the Titans ended up winning this game. Before the snap, the Titans are in single back and they're lining up 12 personnel with 2 tight ends attached to the formation. On the opposite side, the Ravens are in an underfront. Their nose tackle is shaded to the strong side. Before the play even begins, we can see a clear advantage that favors the offense. I count 4 blockers to the offense's left, while there are also 4 defenders on this side as well. What this means is that if the center can reach the nose tackle in the A gap, then Tennessee will have a good chance of creating yards on this one. That's exactly what happened here. Pay close attention to Ben Jones' block. His technique on this reach block is incredible. On his first step, he gets his helmet to the play side of his defender, and by his third, his hips are around his assignment. That's why he was able to seal the nose tackle inside. From Henry's point of view, he's reading this play outside in. His goal is to see where the end man on the line of scrimmage is, and then he'll work his eyes back inside to figure out where to cut. Since his left tackle reached the 4-tech defensive end, Henry knows to cut this run through the C gap. This is where he should bend, and you can see that's what he did here. After hitting the second level, he then sees the linebacker in the hole. He plants both of his feet and he jukes back in the complete opposite direction. I love his balance through this cut. He's basically running at full speed, and then with his vision and balance, he uses those to completely redirect his momentum and hit this run backside. Not many running backs with his power and size can do this. That's why this play is extremely impressive. Now, after he makes the cut, and since the defense floats so strongly to stop this run play side, this is why there is no more defenders near the middle of the field. Henry hits open daylight, and he runs this down the field for the game-winning score. Running outside zone out of single back and I formation is fundamental to this offense. Arthur Smith did a great job of pairing the passing game to these runs. It's a big reason why many of the Titans' biggest plays came off a bootleg. The threat of getting stretched horizontally really opens the backside of a play to a rollout. Also, since Tannehill has been incredibly accurate this season, this is the reason why this team has a top 5 offense. Now, going back to the running game, outside of outside zone, the Titans love pairing this with gap plays like duo in order to create cutbacks. Versus Jacksonville in Week 14, they used this play to create multiple big gains. They kept gashing the Jaguars' defense with this play. The Titans would line up in heavy personnel with 3 tight ends. Henry would then take the ball at a single back, and since the defense would start to flow in the direction of the blocks, Henry would destroy them in the opposite direction. Now, some of these blocks were pretty incredible. Obviously, we do need to give a shout out to the offensive line. However, in open space, Henry did a lot of damage too. By outrunning a safety or by setting up that initial block at the line of scrimmage, he definitely helped them as well. So if by this point in this breakdown, you're starting to get flashbacks to some of the other teams we talked about, you wouldn't be wrong. We talked about this scheme a number of times on this channel. This scheme isn't exactly unique. Kyle Shanahan uses a lot of these concepts in San Francisco, so does Sean McVay in LA, and the same goes for Matt LaFleur with the Packers. This isn't exactly surprising, considering that Smith coached under LaFleur back in 2018. He was his tight ends coach, while LaFleur was his OC in Nashville. LaFleur actually worked for both Shanahan and McVay, so it makes sense why Smith knows the same offense. To his credit though, it's pretty clear he's done a good job coaching it. Wide zone is a foundation play to this team. They run it extremely well in Tennessee. Going back to Henry, one of the main things that stood out to me was just how consistent he was at breaking tackles. He breaks the tackle on every 5th touch. Obviously, in some of the plays he breaks more, in others he breaks less, but that level of consistency is still really impressive. As you can see on this chart, Henry is in the upper right corner of this graph. To be above this line, meaning you break more tackles than the average running back, while also having the volume that he has in this offense is seriously an incredible feat on its own. It simply means that he doesn't slow down, nor does Henry get tired. Outside of broken tackles, another thing I really like seeing was how well Henry can read the flow of the defense. I showed you that example against the Ravens, but that vision, especially to see a second level crease, is really impressive. Henry has the body control and footwork to make every single cut. He does that so well for this offense. Watching Henry is like seeing an SUV going out of control but still being able to make a perfect U-turn. It's really awesome to see. The last thing that I'm going to say about this team is that this offensive line is seriously underrated. It's criminal that none of these blockers made the Pro Bowl this season. They're easily a top 5 run blocking unit. Now, I do know the Pro Bowl is stupid, but it's the recognition that they definitely deserve. They consistently blasted open holes for Henry. Plus, having Michael Pruitt, who's one of the best run blocking tight ends in the NFL, they really worked well together. Overall, it's Henry's ability to break tackles, his vision to see creases in defenses, and his offensive line that really helped him rush for over 2,000 yards. This team is really well built. From their offensive line to their blocking tight ends, all the way back to their wide receivers, they work really well together. They're going to be good for a long time. I fully expect Arthur Smith to get a head coaching offer in the future. Maybe not this season, but definitely by the following. It's clear he's really helped shape this team. With Derrick Henry as his running back, the Titans are going to be a very dangerous team in the playoffs. Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel as well. Thanks again, and for my latest updates, follow me on Twitter at SamuelRGold.